Today on PGTV News, the Polk County Commission approves the final budget for the upcoming fiscal year. Find out how you'll be affected. That's coming up.
And a new recreation complex is opening in Lakeland. Find out where and what it has to offer. That and more are all ahead on PGTV News.
PGTV News, I'm Tina Mann.
And I'm Stephen Barnes. Last week, the Polk County Commission approved the 2020-2021 budget. This was the final meeting and public hearing on the new $1.78 billion budget for the new fiscal year starting October 1st. The budget processes start each year during the Commission retreat in February. During the retreat, spending priorities are discussed during several budget workshops. The proposed $1.78 billion, that is the county budget, represents almost a 5.5% increase in spending compared to the current $1.69 billion of the 2019-2020 fiscal year. The new budget includes a property tax decrease to $6.90 per $1,000 of assessed property value, down from the 2019-2020 rate of $7.16 per 1,000. It also includes a $24 increase in the annual fire services fee. The $6.90 rate means the owner of a $100,000 home will pay a property tax bill of $345 next year after deducting the $50,000 in-home value because of homestead exemptions. That's a $13 drop, or a 3.6% less than what was paid last year. County employees will get an across-the-board 3.5% increase in their annual pay beginning December 28th, except for union employees whose salaries are determined under collective bargaining. The pay raise depends on whether the employee earns a rating of successful or higher on the most recent annual evaluation.
We've been talking a lot about budgets lately and the adjustments that people are making and the smart decisions that all the municipalities and our county has been making, and they do a good job.
Yeah, and certainly we've talked about this before. This year is a really tricky year because we have no idea how the economy is going to recover. We've never had to project
right
like we are right now. You know, there's just, the future is so uncertain.
But I have confidence they'll figure it out.
But it is still nice to see some of the tax rates coming down because Polk County has had such a boom in an economic boom. Housing industry is up, even during coronavirus.
Right.
The housing industry continued to thrive. So, there are some really good signs moving forward in 2021.
As we told you last week, the 10th Judicial Circuit Court in Bartow will be reopening for jury proceedings. Chief Judge Ellen Masters shared an in-depth look of how jury members will remain safe during the phased reopening.
As you are aware, due to the statewide emergence of COVID-19 in March of this year, we were faced with a directive from the Florida Supreme Court mandating that in-person court proceedings had to be significantly reduced in an effort to minimize the risk of spreading COVID-19. To adhere to this directive and still keep our courts open and accessible, we were compelled to move our court proceedings from a live platform to one that operated online using digital technology. Without hesitation, the 10th Judicial Circuit's virtual courts were developed and made available for public use. Let's take a look at how they work. There are two ways to access our virtual courts. Court participants and observers are provided with phone numbers and conference ID codes, as well as virtual courtroom links, allowing the courtrooms to be accessed both telephonically and online in compliance with the Supreme Court's directive. This access information is also prominently displayed on our 10th Judicial Circuit website, along with instructions and guidance that can be utilized by anyone who needs assistance in navigating our virtual court system. If further clarification or assistance is needed, court administration staff, clerk's office staff, and judicial assistants are all available to assist users in locating court schedules and information, as well as getting users to their assigned virtual courtroom locations. Despite our virtual court success, we continue to face unique challenges in each individual court division. Judges must consider the procedural requirements of each proceeding while also taking into account the limitations created by the coronavirus, from which we all are trying to protect ourselves and each other. Under some circumstances, a judge will find it necessary to conduct in-person essential hearings. Each administrative judge of the individual court division has worked diligently with court staff, community partners, and local government leaders to ensure that when this occurs, it takes place in adherence to the COVID-19 related established mandates and recommended guidelines. As we are cleared to progress through each phase to reopen our brick and mortar courthouses to the public, the number of in-person proceedings will slowly increase. In preparation for more in-person proceedings, such as jury trials, to recommence, the following protective measures are currently being implemented and are continually assessed and updated to minimize health risks to any and all persons who must personally appear at our courthouses. All 10th Judicial Circuit courthouse facilities are subject to rigorous cleaning schedules and sanitation protocols as applicable. All courthouse visitors are screened prior to being allowed to pass through the main entrance of the courthouse and will be required to undergo a temperature check. Anyone who displays known COVID-19 symptoms and/or registers a temperature reading higher than 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit will not be permitted to proceed into the courthouse. If the person being denied entry is attempting to enter the courthouse for an in-person hearing, they will be advised that their assigned judge has remote appearance alternatives available for anyone who's required to leave the courthouse due to COVID-19 restrictions. Building occupants are similarly screened at their respective entrances. If any staff displays known COVID-19 symptoms and/or registers a temperature reading higher than 100.4 degrees Fahrenheit, they will not be permitted to proceed into the courthouse. They will be advised to leave and encouraged to seek the help of their medical professional. Anyone who is cleared to enter a 10th Judicial Circuit courthouse will be advised that wearing a face mask while inside is mandatory. And if they did not bring a face mask with them, one will be provided to them at no cost. Multiple signs regarding COVID-19 related rules and restrictions, social distancing instructions, and preventative tips are prominently displayed throughout all courthouses and are strictly enforced. We thank you for your continued cooperation and patience as we carefully progress through each phase and transition back to on-site proceedings. Stay safe, everyone.
Well, Lakeland City officials are seeking those who are interested in serving as an interim commissioner for 3 months after Commissioner Scott Franklin resigns on January 3rd, 2021. Franklin submitted his letter of resignation to the city after announcing in March he was challenging U.S. Representative Ross Spano in the Republican primary for U.S. House District 15. This resignation was required by the city's charter. Franklin took office in 2018, leaving more than 2 years remaining on his 4-year term. City law requires the commission to appoint an interim candidate before holding a special election, which costs approximately $184,000. Franklin, who won the primary over Spano, now faces Democrat Alan Cohn for the congressional seat in the November 3rd general election. The special election for his seat, representing Lakeland's Southeast District, would have taken place in November. However, Lakeland's charter requires there be at least 60 days from the date when a commissioner's seat is vacated to when an election is held, but no more than 90 days. Interested parties will be asked to indicate if they intend to run in the special election for Franklin's seat. The City Commission will vote on Monday on whether or not to hold a special election on April 6, 2021, in conjunction with the municipal elections. Those interested in serving as interim commissioner should contact City Clerk Kelly Coos by September 30th. Her office can be reached at 863-834-6210 or at Kelly, Kelly, .Coos, KOOS, at lakelandgov.net.
City officials have tacked a 13th exemption onto Lakeland's face mask mandate in hopes of improving safety for businesses. The commission voted 6-0 to allow business owners to request a customer remove their face covering so their identity can be verified. Once complete, the person is expected to immediately recover their face. Commissioner Scott Franklin was the first official to suggest earlier this month the city should create an exemption for banks and other financial institutions to request customers take their masks off for identification during a transaction. Franklin said he spoke with members of the Florida Banks Association who had issues with the city's face covering requirements. Some states with statewide mask mandates in effect, such as Texas and Wisconsin, have similar exemptions for banks and financial institutions, according to Commissioner Chad McLeod. He couldn't find examples of similar provisions among small municipal governments. Commissioner Stephanie Madden said she had received an email from a concerned citizen asking about removing masks for facial recognition in convenience stores, where customers are often tracked by security cameras. If a person wants to purchase beer or alcohol at Publix, Franklin said it's reasonable that the cashier should be able to request a customer lower their mask and show a photo ID. A full list of the exemptions to the city's mask mandate can be found online at www.lakelandgov.net/COVID-19.
You know, I'm surprised that this hasn't come up sooner.
Right, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's funny because before COVID, you weren't allowed to wear masks in these places, and now we're having to try to come up with ways to exempt it. And you can always hold your breath too.
Right, just a quick
pull it down.
Right,
Breath, yeah.
long enough to identify. Although I've found it rather interesting how many people recognize me whether I have my mask on or not. I mean, they from across like the building, they will say, "Hey, Tina," and I'll have my mask covering my face.
It's your eyes. You have glowing eyes.
I do, but it also happens if I'm wearing a ball cap. So I'm
well,
a ball cap and a mask,
and that's funny
they're
because
still
I'm the exact
recognizing me.
opposite. I have trouble identifying. In fact, I was at a store the other day, and a longtime friend that I've known for a very long time said, "Hey, how's it going?" And she had a hat on and the mask, of course, and I was like dumbfounded. I had no idea who this was. And then later, she said, "That was you at the store, wasn't it?" Oh my gosh. Felt like an idiot.
Well, at least you didn't make her feel like an idiot, because if she had gotten it wrong, she would have been the one. So.
Yeah. If you have any unused medications or sensitive documents lying around and want to dispose of them correctly, then don't worry. The Winter Haven Police have rescheduled the once postponed 5th annual Purge Your Pills and Shred Your Stuff event. During this event, the police will accept any pills you have, including pet medications, medications you no longer need, or medications that are expired. The only restriction is no liquids. As for sensitive documents, the Winter Haven Police will accept all the paper documents you want to safely dispose of. This collection does not include CDs, credit cards, or plastic, just the paper. Winter Haven PD requests that no businesses participate. This collection is only for personal paperwork. You don't have to be a citizen of Winter Haven to participate in the Purge Your Pills and Shred Your Stuff event. The event will be held at the Winter Haven Police Department on North Lake Silver Drive from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on October 25th. I don't know if you could tell, but I like saying that. Shred your stuff.
I do, and I'm going to point out how important this is as far as properly disposing your medications, because all of that, when they end up in the landfill, they end up in our water, in our water tables, and poisoning our water supplies and our lakes and everything else. So
even in the septic systems, it creates havoc in the sewer systems and the septic systems. Is because you get those chemicals in there,
right,
and it's a bad situation.
It is. Although I thought it was interesting that you can't dispose of liquid medications, so I'll be looking into how to properly dispose of those, apparently.
Yeah, that is interesting. We'll have to get a story on that next week.
Lakeland officials gathered last week to celebrate the completion of Lake Crago Park's $7 million outdoor recreational complex. This event offered a sneak peek of the park's breathtaking waterfront view. The park includes a boathouse and dock from which residents can launch kayaks, canoes, boats, and sailboats. A paved concrete path winds through a landscape that features more than 29 species of plants and trees. A series of steps creates an educational amphitheater for future classes. The inside of the recreational center has 3 sections. The largest section includes a banquet room with an attached kitchen for up to 120 people that offers a floor-to-ceiling view of Lake Crago. Down the hall are 2 smaller rooms, an activity room for up to 48 people, and classroom with seating capacity of up to 60. Both rooms are equipped with smart screen TVs and Wi-Fi. The city is currently hiring fitness instructors to offer a variety of classes in the complex. All the event spaces will be available to the public for rent. The City Commission is expected to approve rental pricing that range from $200 for the amphitheater and up to $3,000 for the banquet room on weekends. Lake Crago Dog Park was the first phase of the park to open to the public. A third construction phase is planned to add 3 multi-purpose athletic fields, 3 baseball fields, picnic pavilions, a concession stand, and a disc golf course. We're really lucky here in Polk County because we have such a diverse environmental areas that represent lakes and scrub and oak hammocks and just so many things. And our municipalities and our county do a great job of making these areas accessible to the public.
Yeah, and I think this is great. The northeast side of Polk County, there's been a lot of development and some really great parks put up in the Haines City, Point Siena area up there. And now you've got something in the northeast part of Lakeland, which was kind of like a dead zone for the parks as well. So this is going to be a beautiful spot for residents up around the North Soquem Loop area and places like that. So. And the fact they're putting in a dog park, I love it. I'm a dog dad, so anytime I see them putting in dog amenities, I love it.
I'm excited about being able to actually rent kayaks or something like that. There's just not that many places here.
There you go. Well, the 40th Lake Morton Swan roundup is set for October 6th. The feathered population has swelled in recent years, leading to a wide variety of issues and a swan sale in order to eliminate the problem of swan overpopulation. The city's Parks and Recreation Department estimates that the city has about 80 swans. A prior study undertaken by the city found Lake Morton provides enough habitat and food for between 45 to 50 birds. An official count will be taken during the roundup when the feathered denizens are captured for their annual wellness examinations. It costs Lakeland approximately $10,000 a year to feed and care for its iconic swans. It has been roughly 5 to 6 years since the city last held a swan sale. This year's sale is expected to take place in November. The abundance of swans on Lake Morton has led to several issues over the past year or two. Many birds have fought over territory, and the lack of space may have been the reason some pairs built nests in less than ideal locations this spring, including the Lakeland Chamber of Commerce lawn and off the busy intersection of South Boulevard and Lake Morton Drive. Lake Morton's one of those really hot spots for photographers. I see them down there all the time because the birds have no problem with people, so you can get right up close to them and get those great, macro photos and, nice.
You gotta be careful because they can get grumpy and they will chase you and bite you in the butt.
Especially during
mating
season, and when they're taking care of those eggs, they will get defensive. They will back you off quickly.
They will bite your butt.
And that's one of the things that we mentioned in the story is the population is so heavy that now they're starting to lay eggs and nest in places where the city really doesn't want them. Where they become a nuisance or where it becomes dangerous for pedestrians and for the birds both. I remember I was over there with my dog a couple years ago, and one of the swans had laid a nest under one of the trees on the other side of the road near the Chamber of Commerce there. And we were sitting there eating lunch, and I didn't even know the swan was back there, and my dog noticed it.
Uh-oh.
And he started going over there, and that swan was having nothing of my dog getting near him.
They're beautiful birds. I'm glad they're there. The program that they do is really just fascinating. I know there was another story about the
turkey?
the rather rare black swan actually chose another mate.
Oh, okay.
It did.
Because didn't one of them get stolen a year or two ago?
I think he got
a little.
Yeah, I think the babies got stolen, but the mate of the partner actually got killed in one of the traffic accidents, and they almost never get a new mate. So it was very, very, very cool that they actually chose one.
So you're moving into a nice spacious place. Are you going to get yourself a swan for the?
No.
No.
I'm not the biggest fan of birds to own.
Well, along with the swans comes the swan poop. So.
I can handle goat poop, but not swans. Thanks for watching PGTV News. The board review is coming up, but first, one woman is being the change she wants to see in her community by hitting the street to get food donations or dancing with kids. Whatever it takes to make her community better. Take a look.
Okay, go. Thank you. And then go back to your meeting and come back. We're here. People know that they have a space to even get cold meals for their kids, and also get some fresh produce and some pantry goods. It's more important now because of the state of the economy. A lot of people have lost their jobs, and a lot of people just didn't know where they were going to get the things that they needed. And this space gives them that opportunity to get some of the stuff that they need to at least maintain the home until we get back to some normalcy. That's what I'm most proud of.
Just call me and we can do it together.
Because those were some of the things that I was trying to accomplish with the people in the community, just having them communicate with one another, come together, and start to make change that they want to see in their own community.
They don't have nobody. This helps out a lot of parents. It's better than being in the street. It's better than hanging out in the corner. It's better than these kids that really need the help.
I'm emotionally attached to my kids that are in my program, and not being able to see them for a while has been it's been very hard. It's been high anxiety. It's been very difficult just not being able to be around my kids. She's my biggest inspiration these days. My daughter, it's just me and her, and the work that I do, hopefully she sees it and makes an impact. Active. The feeling is active. I'm always on the move. My feet are always going. My heart is always pumping. My brain is always on go the moment I walk into the building. I don't shut down until I close these doors. To be energetic is kind too. Gotcha, girl. So how are things? Everything is good. I don't see it as a small space. That's how I do the things that I do. I see it as a space for growth and understanding. It's more intimate. No matter how big or how small the contribution, the impact is what's important. Allow them to understand that they can make a change in their homes, in their communities, and that New York Community Centers are here for them.
Welcome to the Board Review with news about your county government. I'm your host, Tricia Pichette. Today you'll learn about County Commission actions from the September 15th board meeting. Polk's Northeast Regional Park is about to add 4 new baseball fields. following the board's approval of an agreement with Chastain Skillman, Inc. for professional engineering services for the park's baseball complex, which is expected to cost about $528,928. The agreement services will include surveying, designing, permitting, engineering, final construction bid documents, as well as construction administration services for the expansion. When complete, the new facility will include 4 new baseball fields and a building structure that will include a shower area, restrooms, locker rooms, and concessions. The board approved a contract with Carlson Environmental Consultants for the North Central Landfill Gas Collection System Interconnect project. The project is expected to cost about $384,696. The county's general liability and public entity liability insurance policy, along with cyber risk and network security liability with Argonaut Insurance, was approved at an annual combined cost of about $627,000. A prescription benefit management services agreement with Aetna Life Insurance Company for the Employee Group Pharmacy Benefit Plan was approved by the board. The agreement will have a recurring cost of about $11 million. The board set a hearing date of 9:30 a.m. November 3rd to consider an appeal to the Planning Commission's decision to approve a planned development in North Lakeland. The release of a surety in the form of $272,782 performance bond for Blossom Grove Estates was approved Tuesday. Paul Gerard Jr., Brent Elliott, and Gerard Robinson were reappointed as members of the Industrial Development Authority with 3-year terms that end in 2023. Pauline Simmons Brown was appointed as a member of the Citizens Healthcare Oversight Committee for a 4-year term that ends in 2024. Harriet Rust was reappointed as a member of the Polk County Historical Commission for a 3-year term that ends in 2023. Nick Miller was appointed, while John Lout, Jackie Johnson, and Ron Myers were reappointed to terms on the Tourist Development Council. Miller will serve the remainder of a 4-year term that ends in 2023. Lout, Johnson, and Myers' reappointments are for 4-year terms that end in 2024. The board also held several public hearings on a variety of items. Those items up for consideration included: the board approved a resolution to vacate a portion of platted drainage easement on the plat of Lake Deason Point Addition. The board also approved another resolution to vacate platted unmaintained right-of-way on the plat of W.F. Hallam and Company's Lakeland Highlands Club acre lots. A resolution to vacate a portion of platted sanitary sewer easement and accept Polk County Utilities easements from Reunion DHC LLC and Luther Wayne Cave was also approved by the board Tuesday. 4 speed humps to slow traffic along Lake Cannon Drive West in Winter Haven were approved by the board Tuesday. Construction of the speed humps is expected to cost about $16,000. In a 3-2 vote, the board approved a suburban plan development which will create 94 single-family homes on about 121 acres in North Lakeland. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Board Review. To keep current with programs and progress in the county, visit us online at polk-county.net or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We encourage you to join us at the next scheduled board meeting at 9 a.m. Tuesday, October 6, 2020. I'm Tricia Pichette. Thanks for watching.